So, new player coming in. Okay, that's a good way to start the morning. Tuesday morning. What's the date today? I can't even see it on my phone. Anyway, let's talk about it, man. What's going on, people? You already know. You know the face, you know the name. Aaron here, back again with another video. Shout out to everybody tuning in. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a hoodie, it's because I live in Manchester and the skies are grey. It looks like it's a bit cold outside. I'd say about 16, 17, 18 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it's looking great. So yeah, and I don't know if I'm gonna go out today. So hoodie season is almost back anyway, so I might as well slap that on. But yeah, shout out to everybody tuning in, man, showing love and support, all of that good stuff. It's road to 13k still, so if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Remember, it's not a race, it's a marathon, so we're going to take our time to get these subscribers, the subscriber count up. So, man, love to everyone that is showing me love. So, yeah, let's dive straight into this, man. Scott McTominay is leaving the club, and in return, we are getting a new player, or Manchester United are getting a new player in Manuel Ugarte, Uruguayan international, central defensive midfielder, but can operate as a central midfielder as well. Very tenacious, very strong, very aggressive, gets about on the pitch, not shy to put himself about, not shy to get stuck in. A good midfielder, very good midfielder. Very good midfielder. But I do want to get to certain points. Shout out to the police. Every day there's something happening here, bro. I have no clue, bro. It's literally every day. But anyway, Scott McTominay leaving Manchester United. With all due respect to Scott, and I don't know him personally, I'm sure he's a good guy. I'm sure he's a good person to hang around. I'm sure he's a good person to chill with, whatever. But I do think it was about time. It was about time that Manchester United let Scott McTominay go. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, it's overdue. It's overdue. And it's funny because Manchester United fans are doing this thing again. The same thing they did with Wan-Bissaka when he left. All of a sudden, I'm seeing Scott McTominay almost eulogies. I don't know. All of a sudden, there's this unsung love that people have for Scott McTominay when, in reality, and listen, I've been to the ground a lot of times last season. Scott McTominay was getting cussed out. Like, he was getting cussed out, despite him coming onto the pitch, getting us winners here and there, scoring goals when we needed them. He got cussed out a lot. And I'm saying by everybody, especially when it came to, judging him as a midfielder, the technical part, the awareness part, the passing part, the long balls part, like everything. When he got judged basically, like purely as a midfielder, a lot of people had something to say about him. Now, all of a sudden he's leaving and I'm hearing everybody's singing his praises all of a sudden. He's an academy graduate. Why are we letting him go? He personifies Manchester United. He's Man United through and through. You need Scott McTominay in your team. And I don't disagree. But you can have Scott McTominay in your team when you're challenging for titles. You can have Scott McTominay in your team when you're actively challenging for trophies, when you're being a competitive side, challenging for stuff. Manchester United are far from being that. So having a Scott McTominay or someone of his profile in the team is actually a net negative if you think about it. Because if he has to be your option, if he's your first option every time something goes wrong, instead of the team being coached into winning a game of football, then something's wrong. Because yes, he can come on, let's say over a 5-game span. Let's say over 5 games, you're in trouble every single time, and Scott McTominay comes on in the first game, scores. Second game, comes on, scores. Third game, comes on, scores. Fourth game, comes on, scores. Fifth game, comes on, scores. Let me tell you that it's not sustainable. And it's not always going to happen that way. Exhibit A, last season. Yes, Scott came on and scored important goals, but it wasn't always the case. There were games where we struggled. He came on and he didn't score. So what do you do then? Do you know what I mean? So I think it was about time we let him go. I think he's going to Napoli, of course. When he joins Napoli, it's going to be a side that fits him, that suits him. Obviously, he's going to be playing under Antonio Conte. And I think he will slot in perfectly, man. Honestly, I think he will slot in perfectly. And it's very, very coincidental that he's going to be there with his fellow international teammate in Billy Gilmore. Well, unless something goes wrong, but I believe Gilmore will end up going to Napoli as well. So it's a bit of a weird one to see people all of a sudden sing Scott McTominay's praises like he was our saviour and like he was the one dragging us through the mud and he was the one winning us trophies. No, he wasn't. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be realistic. I think it was about time that Scott McTominay left. And I think even for him, I think he'll be happy with this. I think he'll be happy with the move. So yeah, I think it's a fair transfer. I think it was about time for him to go. I don't think extending his contract or letting him stay longer than expected would have been the solution. So shout out to Scott, man, and I wish him all the best. And in return, we're getting Manuel Ugarte. And I sat here over the weekend and I told you guys that new players are not going to solve a coaching issue. Again, I've got nothing against Ugarte, even though his first year and his only year at PSG was a bit difficult. He didn't really fit into Luis Enrique's plan. And I think Enrique will probably admit that it was a mistake from him to get him away from Sporting Lisbon for 60 million. And yeah, he just didn't fit into Enrique's plans and he didn't play the football that Enrique wanted him to play. And I think the perfect example of that is seeing João Neves absolutely ball out. And that is the type of mode of player that Luis Enrique was looking for. But obviously, this is not a PSG video. I'm just saying. I'm in two minds about this Ugarte transfer. On one hand, I'm happy that another player's coming in or new players coming in because we needed something fresh in midfield. We needed some fresh legs, some new blood. Like we needed something different than what we've seen in recent years. And I think also that's another reason why I think the Scott McTominay move for him it makes sense and it's a good thing for the club because we needed something different. Do you know what I mean? Scott McTominay every year coming on and scoring goals was not really that. You can't base your plan on that. You can't base your season on Scott McTominay coming on and scoring. That's not realistic. But the reason why I'm in two minds is on one hand I'm happy, but on the other hand I'm like, this is another player for Erik ten Hag, and he's already been trying to play this 3-1-6 formation for about 2 years now. This is just going to be a 3-1-6 on steroids now. Like, I don't know if the Ugarte signing is really going to transform our side because that's what we're looking for ultimately. Because so far, bro, all of the signings that Erik ten Hag brought in, it gave us a slight improvement, but it hasn't transformed the team. It hasn't. So I don't know. It's just a thing of, it's going to have to be a thing of, we're going to have to wait and see, man. We're going to have to wait and see. Now, in terms of the business itself, I think Ineos have done brilliantly. Like, PSG were really holding out on that £50 million / 60 million euros. But somehow, I don't know how they did it, but Ineos managed to get, let's just say £50 million because for the sake of talking in pounds, Ineos managed to get a £42 million deal done plus 8.6, I think, or 8.5 in add-ons. And we're paying 20 up front, the rest over the course of the length of Ugarte's contract, which is brilliant business. And that's the business part of it. Like I said, I'm just worried that Ugarte is not going to transform our midfield because, like I said, this 3-1-6 that Ten Hag's trying to play, it's just going to be a 3-1-6 on steroids. Like, it might end up being fantastic, but on the other hand, it might end up being completely catastrophic. So obviously, I hope that it's going to be on the good side of it, on the good end of things. So I don't know, man. I'm in two minds about it. At the same time, sorry, I'm also thinking about people like Kobbie Mainoo, because this 3-1-6 system is doing anything but benefit someone like Kobbie Mainoo. But because he's technically so gifted and because he's so talented, his talent shines and his talent rises above this 3-1-6 chaotic midfield system, that an overload in numbers and numerical advantage that Ten Hag's trying to play. His talent sticks above that. That's how good Kobbie Mainoo is. So I'm just worried that this 3-1-6 system that Ten Hag is going to try and play on steroids with Ugarte there, which is just going to be full of runners. Bruno's a runner, Mount's a runner, Casemiro's a physical guy, he's a slash runner as well. Ugarte's going to come in, he's a runner, he's physical, he's a workhorse. And then you have Kobbie Mainoo, who's the odd one out in that midfield. And I'm just thinking, is that really the approach that we should be taking? And again, I'm happy that Ugarte is coming in, but I'm just worried about the system that Ten Hag's trying to play him in. Is that going to help us fix the gaps in midfield every time people are in transition and they're coming at us, and they have in terms of numbers, they have more players coming at us than we've got in defense when we're defending going backwards? Like, I just asked myself a lot of questions, and just again, Ugarte is a good player, but in terms of choice of personnel, in terms of talent ID, we've seen, apart from certain guys that Ten Hag brought in, I don't know. Is that the right choice? Or is it just going to be another Ten Hag mistake and then he ends up on the bench and then do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of misses in the players that Ten Hag brought in. Anthony's a miss. Mason Mount's a miss for me. Onana here and there. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of misses in there. So I'm just wondering, I'm really in two minds about it. But if you talk about the transfer itself, purely, Ugarte is a very good transfer. Of course it is. He's a Uruguayan international. He's got international experience. He's going to be another one of the Vamos merchants. And yeah, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. That's all I can say, really. We're going to have to wait and see how this pans out, because there's a lot of things that I'm worried about, especially when it comes to the manager, especially when it comes to him. So, I'm worried, guys. I'm worried. But the transfer itself, Ugarte, I'm happy with that, man. And I'm happy to see how this pans out. I'm happy to see how this is going... Excuse me. I'm happy to see how this is going to unfold. And, man, maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section what you think, man. Am I overreacting? Am I thinking about this too much? Maybe you guys need to calm me down. I don't know. Maybe, let me guys know. You guys let me know, what you think about this transfer. And I'd love to hear your opinions, like your honest opinions about it. So, please get active in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share, comment, all of that. The new studio is still coming about. I'm still trying to get pieces together. And I want to film from the new studio once everything is here. I don't want to get things bit by bit and then make it look weird. But road to 13k still. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I'll see you soon, guys. Peace.